Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual lounge at the end of the universe for Tuesday Night Fiasco. Sorry about the delays. We had some technicalities, as they say. I am Mike Witry, and I am your host for Tuesday Night Fiasco, in which bad things happen to bad people. Among the bad things are me putting typos in the playset name. Tonight we are going to be presenting a story of powerful ambition and poor impulse control set in the Star Wars universe. And my guests tonight are V. Hudson,
Hello.
she's joining us from Utah, and local improviser Aaron Nuttall.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, V. Any stories on something you would have liked to have happened in Star Wars that didn't?
I think my initial reaction is seeing more hot and steamy romance moments. That they just never filled my needs there.
All right, the Han and Leia thing didn't quite turn it up to 11 for you.
No, not at all. And even when we got with the new kids, I mean, there's the three hugged at the end. I would have loved to see a little more. Take it a little further.
All right. That's what fanfic is for. Aaron, tell us a little bit about something that should have happened in Star Wars but didn't.
Well, I think probably it should have stopped. I would have liked that. But if there is going to be more Star Wars, I wish they would hire a Bollywood director and company to do a Bollywood Star Wars.
I like that.
I would love that. In fact, I'm tempted to just throw this all away and do Bollywood Star Wars, but no, we've made a commitment. We are playing Fiasco by Jason Morningstar, presented by Bully Pulpit Press, and we are going to be using a playset to help us pick semi-random story elements that are going to show up in the course of our story. So, I've got a big pile of physical dice that I'm going to roll in front of me, and I'm going to report to everyone on what we got. All right, we have got a pair of ones. We've got 4 twos. We've got a pair of threes. We have a 4, and we have 3 sixes. So we're now going to take turns defining either the relationship between our characters or a need, a location, or an object. We're each going to be connected by a relationship, and then one of those 3 other things. We have to use one of each type of those 3 other things. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to pick the category for the relationship between myself and Aaron. And let's see, I think we have a work relationship. So I'm going to spend one of those 2s. V, you are up next.
Okay, I will do our relationship.
All right.
Well, let's see. Did you say you said we had 4s, right?
We have a single 4.
I'm going to take it.
All right, we'll take that 4.
Criminals.
Got it. Aaron, what do you say?
Okay, let's see what the relationship between me and V will be. Oh, Rebel Scum, my favorite.
Ooh.
Okay, we'll throw in some rebels. Next up, I'll put a location in between myself and V. And let's see. I mean, scum and villainy kind of fits for criminals, but I'm also thinking that criminals in the upper city concourse might be fun.
Ooh.
The reaction from V tells me that that's the one I'm going with. So it'll be criminals who find ourselves in rich places. V, what have you got?
Let's further define our relationship, Mike.
All right. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 6 as our options.
Let's do the spice dealer and junkie.
Gotcha. Aaron.
Okay. Let's put an object between you and me, Mike.
Gotcha. Let's reset that. And 1, 2, 3, and 6 are the choices.
I like the sound of contraband.
Contraband it is. And let's see. Let me define this work relationship between you and me. Ooh. I think Bespin Wingguard officers interacts very well with somebody being a spice dealer and a junkie.
Yeah.
We've got crooked cops.
Does that mean we work in a twin pod cloud car?
That's totally possible.
Okay.
V, what's up?
Let's further define the rebel scum relationship.
Okay.
What are the numbers we have left?
1, 2, 3, and 6.
Did you say 2?
Yes.
I think I want to do 1.
Okay. Noble sympathetic to the rebellion and a rebel in hiding. All right. Aaron, what do you want?
Okay. We need a need, right?
You do need a need.
Okay. Let's put a need between me and V.
2, 3, and 6 are the choices.
To profit.
Yeah.
Very good. Let me have a look at this contraband and see what I want it to be. I think 12 kilos of glitter stem is going to fit very well into Spice Dealer and Junkie.
Yeah.
All right, V, you can either define the location or the need.
Let's define the location.
Okay, choices are 2 and 6.
Where the galaxy's the limit. Yeah, that casino sounds right.
Casino. And Aaron, you've got the need, and the last die is wild, so you can pick any of these suckers.
Okay. Oh. Okay. I love the idea of getting the Empire to wipe out my competition, but we are rebels and we need to profit. So, in a totally honest, reasonable, and conflict-free fashion.
Excellent. I'm sure that's exactly how it will turn out. So now that we see how we're all connected to each other, we can kind of reverse engineer who we are. So I know that I'm a Bespin Wingguard officer, and I am either a spice dealer or a junkie, and I am leaning towards being the dealer on the side because I'm connected with Aaron via this contraband, which I may be hiding from him or stealing from the evidence locker or something like that. So I know who I am.
Okay.
I need a good Star Warsy name. I'll be Bib Libno. Which sounds just ridiculous enough to be a Star Wars name. All right, Aaron, looks like you're also on the Force. So you could be either, you think you're this noble, or do you think you're the rebel in hiding?
Well, I think if I'm doing a cop job, I'm not likely to be a noble. So I think I am the rebel.
Okay.
And I gotta have a name, so you can call me Ruck Jorn.
And V, it looks like you're noble and a junkie.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
And I'm
one of those dissolute nobility.
yeah. So I'm gonna say my name is Princess Three Moon.
Okay.
Okay, with your pet 3 wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
No, well, actually, it would be 9 wolves for 3 moons.
Good point. I'm glad you did the math.
Excellent. So now we all know who we are, and we each take turns starting scenes that star our characters. When it's our turn, we can either set up the scene, which is where you say, here's where we are, here's what we're doing. And then at some point, somebody else says either you get a white die, which means your character gets what they want, they get a good ending out of the scene, or that you get a black die, which means your character doesn't get what they want, they have a bad ending for the scene. If you don't know what you want to set up, you can just say, look, I want this to end well, or I want it to end badly, and then you take that die. So we are about to get started with our first scene. If you haven't already done so, I urge you to head over to loungeboise.com and drop a few bucks on a virtual tip kit to help them continue to present things like this. I would hope that they're not preventing things like this. Sergeant Bibb is going to be setting up the first scene. So I think we start with a big panoramic shot of Cloud City, gorgeous as usual, sunlight reflecting off all of the shiny chromed surfaces. Big spin around shot takes us in. The window of the Yarith Bespin casino, which I know most casinos don't have windows, but this one does. As we enter and we see a crowd of extremely well-dressed people. There are aliens everywhere, but they're fancy aliens. There's a band playing, but it's a fancy band. They're not playing that low-class jizz music. They are playing the stuff that they're playing the stuff that the elites listen to. And among this crowd of extremely wealthy people, we see Sergeant Libno, who is not dressed in his duty outfit. He is hanging out at one of the lower credit tables playing sabacc, and he is in what is a high-stakes game for him, and it ends with him shouting "fold," and he pushes away his last set of chips and storms out of the casino. Outside of the casino, awaiting at the front door, is Princess Three Moon. What does Princess Three Moon look like?
She is rather large. She's purple. She's 3 times the size of normal humans. She has long braided hair that is possibly snakes. They look like snakes. They're in braids. And she is wearing the most fashionable clothing that you could get in Cloud City. So she's dressed to the nines at all times.
Sure. I should probably say what Sergeant Libno looks like. I think he looks like a young Klaus Kinski.
Klaus Kinski?
Yeah. I'm just casting somebody for the part. You're getting young Klaus Kinski.
I'm Googling that.
Just dressed all Star Trek wise. I'm thinking of him like in Agira Wrath of God. That's what he looks like.
Okay.
But not dressed like a conquistador. So that's your dude. Sergeant Libno sees Princess Three Moon there and looks at her and he just shakes his head.
She looks back at him and taps one of her noses and winks at him.
Well, it looks like baby won't be getting the new shoes.
Oh, what are you talking about? No new shoes.
Well, the credits I was gonna use to get the big investment, they didn't pan out, but it's okay. I know there's another ship coming in that needs to be inspected because they might be carrying shoes, and when that happens, I'll make sure you get the shoes you need.
Yeah. I better be the first person to get those shoes. She winks with all three of her eyes at once.
Yeah, and it just looked like you were blinking, so she does not understand this. Hey, when have I never not delivered for you?
Last week. As a matter of fact, I had to go hustle up some other crooked Bespin wing guard officers, and it was really inconvenient. You and me, we already have something going. Don't make me go to one of your competitors.
All right. Let's calm down. You know that when I give you shoes, they are authentic and they're never cut with anything, in the way that people could cut shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Let's make this a black die.
Okay. So I am taking a black die. Hey, tell you what, I've got something fixed up. I'll be at, I've got a sure score. Just got to hustle out of here. Be back in 3 days with the shoes you need. Got it?
All right, but you know what? This is going to be your strike 3. If you mess with me one more time, I'm going to have to call in my big boys.
Ooh. And Bib pulls on his collar nervously, runs down, hops into his patrol cloud car, which is like a regular one, but this one's just for one person, so it's just the single pod, and it has a siren on top because why wouldn't it? He zips down to the docking pads where he is ready to report for customs duty. He jumps out. He's putting on his uniform. As he does so, runs up to the front gate where Ruck Jorn is waiting for him.
Nice of you to join us, Sergeant Lipno.
Hey. I got held up. I had some crime to fight. But yeah, this is my docking pad. All right, just clear off and let me do my business, okay?
Sure. But it's procedure for there to be 2 eyes on these offloading procedures. Upstairs is getting very concerned about contraband.
Well, I have 2 eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Ruck Jorn is from a species that only has 1 eye, and now I've tremendously offended him.
No. Don't worry, Libno. You have not offended me. I just am real concerned that everything be done according to procedure.
You sure I couldn't change your mind?
What exactly? I know I didn't hear the offer of a bribe, Livno.
Oh, of course not. No, I was just uh, uh, you know what? Never mind.
All right, let's never mind and let's get back to work here.
All right. And they slouch towards the big freighter that they're set to inspect. And that, I think, will end this scene. I have got a black die, and if this works, I'm going to show you what we're doing with our dice. I said, if this works. There we go.
Wahoo!
So I have got this black die, and I get to award it to somebody else. I am going to send that one V's way. All right. So that ends our first scene, and it's now time for a scene starring Princess Three Moon.
All right. So Princess Three Moon is in the VIP part of the casino. It's very fancy, very loud, lots of flashing lights, and she's sitting in a couch. She's got bottle service. She strangely prefers blue milk that's been spiked. She says it's good for her complexion. So she's looking around and just wanting people to realize how important she is. So she's really just like posing herself like she's some sort of model, but no one really seems to be paying a whole lot of attention to her. Maybe this was a little bit earlier in the week, so maybe Sergeant Livno's around. Maybe she meets Rekjorn for the first time. Something along those lines. But she's sitting there pretty gussed up, waiting for someone to converse with her. She takes a big swig of her blue milk, and she's got little blue milk stains on the side of her lips, and she laps them up with her big green tongue and looks around and flicks her hair to no one in particular.
Well, there's Rekjorn at the entrance to the casino with the lovely orange light of the Bespin sky backlighting him. Now, Rekjorn, he's ordinary humanoid. He's got the face of a weathered 1970s type British actor.
Yeah.
with the requisite 1970s type brushy mustache. His voice has been overdubbed by Harry Shearer, though. and he's got his species. Their heads look like they have a rubber prosthetic covering their eyes and replacing it with one eye in the middle of their forehead. And he has come to meet Princess Three Moon because he has heard she might be sympathetic to the rebellion. Princess Three Moon, I presume. Who else could it be?
Of course, who else could it be? It's me, the princess. Oh, I have just been waiting to be talked to all afternoon. I'm so glad you're here. Who are you?
My name is Ruck, and he winks his one eye, so it looks like he's blinking.
Oh, Ruck. She blinks all three of her eyes at him back in a winking fashion, so one at a time. It's so nice to meet you. Do you have anything that's, do you have any compliments for your Royal Highness?
Let me just say that the reptilian skin of your braided head snakes is the perfect complement for your purple complexion, and that if anyone on your world is half as fair, it must be the veritable Alderaan of this part of the galaxy, now that there's no more Alderaan.
I'll give you a white die.
Well, you're right. We are the number one Alderaan now that Alderaan's not around anymore. And again, you're absolutely right. I am the most fair of my species. I feel like your compliments are acceptable. You may continue your conversation with Her Royalty.
Much obliged, Your Royalty. Now, of course, it was an unforgivable tragedy that Alderaan was turned to dust, and even now, as the galaxy never ceases from its weeping and mourning, from the sackcloth and ashes and the rending of garments, still, more could be done, don't you think, to resist the evil empire?
She looks at him over her tall glass of blue milk as she slugs it down. Resist? That is a buzzword of mine. My little blue cow ears are twitching, and I beg you to tell me more. She winks one of her eyes.
Well, I happen to be positioned to funnel any funds that might be made available from royal coffers, say, with the utmost secrecy, into rebel sympathizers, and to, through my legal context, to provide cover should any Imperial attention come up.
Well, you know, money's nice, but you know what's nicer? Drugs! Mama needs more drugs! What can you do for me there?
Your Royalness, you've put me on the horns of a dilemma. To give up my principles of doing everything honest and conflict-free and above board, or to get the money to where it's needed. Would you perhaps give me another 1/3 of a moon to think it over?
Yes, but this third of a moon is waning, so you better make it fast.
I will,
All
Your
right.
Royalness.
That seems like a good end to this scene. So, Aaron, you have got a white die. You have set up a relationship with her. What do you want to do with that white die?
Oh, I gotta give it away, huh?
Yep.
Okay. I'll give that to V.
Well, actually, this was V's scene, wasn't
that
it?
was V's scene.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you also got what you wanted.
So yeah, I want things to go well for Ruckjorn, so let's give him that white one.
All right, he's got it, and now it's time for a scene starring him.
Okay. Ruckjorn is down in the lower levels of Cloud City, down there where it's dark and dank, and the undesirables do their business.
Ugnaughts.
Oh, yeah. The little Ugnaughts, the little pig face guys. He's swinging his baton, whistling his cop tune, and just as a group of Ugnaughts walks across an intersecting hallway, he darts his eyes left and right and ducks behind a stack of crates to meet the person he's come here to have a clandestine discussion with. Gosh, none other than Sergeant Bib Libno.
Yeah, who has been waiting behind these crates for hours now. Is it? What took you so long?
Well, I am not real familiar with the wending pathways here in the Undercity. I'm out of my element here, and plus I kept running into things. It's real hard to judge how near and far away things are.
Oh yeah. I know your echolocation doesn't work down here.
That's right. I'm blind as a bat without his sonar down here.
Yeah. So, you given more thought to my offer?
I think this is just the wrong way to go, Libno. But these are desperate times. We got peaceful planets being turned to dust, and we got space stations being mistaken for moons left and right. And I've got this one opportunity to get my hands on some serious credits. What it takes is getting involved with your disgusting spice dealing.
It's not that disgusting. We don't. I don't handle any of the really gross stuff. Just the high quality spice that the high quality people take.
Ah, so what you're offering me is the perfect moral back door, I might say, that I can just tell myself that you're only dealing to rich scumbags.
Yeah, and for the rich scumbags, it's hardly illegal. I mean, when a poor Ugnaught starts taking spice, they get thrown in prison for 40 years. But when you've got Huts taking spice, they skate. So what I'm really doing here is I'm striking a blow for justice.
Yeah, it's not even illegal for the rich, since they don't get punished for it when they get caught.
Right, and if it's not, yeah. So, and I'm prepared to use all this money for good causes.
That's a load off my conscience, Sergeant. I'd be happy to join you in this. What do you call it? Smuggling operation?
Well, I guess you could call it smuggling. It's really more of a confiscation option. See, we, other guys are smuggling. They're bringing it onto the planet. We do a really thorough search. We find a little something, and then we don't necessarily report it to the people that we would normally report it to.
Oh, boy, that hardly seems immoral or criminal at all.
Yeah, I mean, it would just sit in the evidence locker.
Yeah, it would go to waste.
Yeah. V, you thinking he gets black die or a white die here?
White.
Okay.
Okay. It's a pleasure doing business with you, Sergeant Libno. So why don't you take a white die?
Okay. That scene ends with I think that ends with a handshake and Sergeant Libno saying, "You know what? I've got a good feeling about this." So, Sergeant Libno's next scene is going to start with the two cops doing a search of a yacht on a landing pad. This is a luxury 3,000 yacht that is packed to the gills with gigas and fancy merchandise. And there is a very important person here squealing about their rights as we continue to start kicking open compartments. And so Ruck and Bib find themselves in the engine room of the ship. And Bib says, if I was hiding something somewhere, I'd put it in the engine room.
Well, then it must be in here. How about these 55-liter barrels?
Well, they're labeled exhaust, which is a weird thing to put on the barrel. I mean, I don't think you keep. Crack it open.
Stand back. And he takes his police pry bar from off of his police utility belt and pops open the lid.
Yeah.
A whiff of carbon monoxide.
Yeah. After coughing and waving our hands in front of our face, we look inside to see there's a pile of empty bags. And Fizz like, yeah, it's too easy. And so he starts unloading the barrel, and at the bottom, he finds he finds a sack, and he holds it up, and it reflects the light in a way that you could say glitters.
Well, I never knew it was so pretty.
I'll be damned. You know how much this is worth?
I got no Cloud City idea.
It's more than you can possibly imagine.
I don't know. I could imagine just about anything.
Yeah. V, are thinking white or black die here?
I'm thinking black.
Okay. Well, the good news is that we've got enough here to buy a planet.
Oh. Wait,
but
what's the
bad news is that it's 12 kilos of it, which not going to be easy for us to move without getting spotted. Well, I do know somebody who's really big.
Jabba the Hutt?
No. She's not as wide, but a lot taller.
Oh.
She could probably conceal 12 kilos on her person if we could figure out how to get her down here. But I'm not sure I trust her with this.
You think she might try to rip us off?
I think she might. I think she might go through this all in one sitting.
Oh. Maybe we ought to make sure she has her fill before we ask her to move it.
All right. Well, we can't. Listen, we can't stay on the ship all day. We got to find something we can stash this in real fast. Where do? just I'm panicking. Jeez.
But behind the fire
Ruck,
hose?
come up with something. Where
Behind
can I
the
put
fire
this? What do I do with that? What do I do with that?
Put it behind the fire hose.
All right. Yeah, and we gotta prevent the ship from leaving. So and so he grabs his baton and he starts just smashing machinery randomly in the engine room.
Oh wait! Oh no! Oh.
And and he puts his baton just as his supervisor arrives, and the two cops salute and say, "Sir, there's been a malfunction, but we're fine. Everything's fine. How are you?" Yep. And scene ends there.
Oh no!
All right. So I have got a die that I'm going to pass on to somebody. I will send that Aaron's way for being for picking up all the Star Wars lines that I was setting up there.
Thank you.
So now we've got 12 kilos of Glitterstim hiding on a yacht that can't take off. Well, unless I didn't do a good job of breaking it. And we've got one person we know who's strong enough to lift it. So, Princess Three Moon, what's our next scene starring you?
Starring me? Let's see. Let's go back to Princess Three Moon's college years when she first tries spice, and we see her get hooked.
Sure.
So we're
like fun.
yeah, we're gonna be at a Harry Potter type school. She's been sent away. She misses her brothers and sisters so much they're not coming to the school. They're going to a different Harry Potter school on a different moon. And she's having a hard time concentrating. She's not quite fitting in. Her acne's really like flaring up.
I can't hear V.
Yeah.
Oh no. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool. And she's just looking at her homework with no love in her eyes and feeling a little soulless, and she sighs deeply to herself and just like, I miss home so much. I don't want to go to school to be a senator. I just want to play and have fun. She's talking to herself in an empty library. She sighs deeply and she looks at her homework, which makes no sense, mostly because it's in a different language. Oh, I wish I had something to free me from this terrible pain I'm feeling.
And that's when the big Ewok on campus arrives. He is an Ewok, but his fur is in a faux hawk. He's got a popped collar. He's striding along, comes up about to like her shin, taps her and says, "Yub nub, baby."
Oh, hey there, little guy. I haven't seen you around the library.
Yeah, the name's Googly. Wicked Googly. That's as good an Ewok name as any.
She picks up Wicked Googly and sets him on top of her book and looks at him closely, so excited for interaction with another being. So what can I help you with? Do you need help studying? Do you need a best friend? I'm here.
Oh, no. Whoa. That's, you're being like, you're being weird. You're coming on awful strong. I mean, I get it, right? I'm a handsome guy. But, what I'm looking for is, me and the boys at the fraternity. We're always looking for new people to bring in for the parties. We're always uh, we're always trying to meet our goals, which is, get one person from every species at this university to show up at our party. It's a thing that like the galactic chapter wants us to do. But it's also something that I want you to do because I've heard a lot about you. You seem like a good person. You should be at the party.
You've heard about me?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're the everybody's like, who's the purple chick?
The purple chick is me. I'm the only purple chick on campus.
Who would have thought, right?
I know. Well, I've never been to a party. They're just they'd get in the way of my studies, and my dad really wants me to become a senator. So I don't.
Yeah, well, you've seen the kind of people that make senators, right? You think Jar Jar Binks went to college?
No, I don't. He kind of just fell into the job, right?
Yeah, so what you really need is charm, okay? That's how you get into the Senate. You get charm and connections. You've already got connections on account of being a princess. You hang out at the parties, you learn charm. Am I right or am I right?
Well, you sound right to me, and
Yeah.
it would be nice to not, be alone all the time.
Yeah, it seems like this scene has to end with a black die because this is you falling into a life that you would prefer not to be in. But
Right.
we'll keep going. So yeah, see you at the party, 15 o'clock. Don't be late.
Oh, I won't.
And I think we cut to the party. What's she doing there?
So, Princess comes to the party. She's dressed in her best school uniform. She has her backpack on, and she is looking around for her new little friend she met. And she walks into the party kind of in shock of what's happening. And then she sees her little friend. What was Glug Glug? Glug Nug? Oh, I'm here. I made it to the party.
Hey, great to see you. Walk around, have a drink, have a good time. And Wicked Googly immediately starts trying to put the moves on some pink chicks and some orange chicks and chicks in every color except purple because apparently there's just the one.
So Princess gets a little bit disillusioned. She thought she was important to this little guy. She doesn't really drink either, so she goes into the bar area and asks for some blue milk, just straight up, just neat. And so she's sitting there at the bar drinking her blue milk by herself. And she's looking around again for companionship, even though this time she's surrounded by people and everyone's having fun without her, and she's just not making the connection.
And normally I would call on Aaron to jump in with something fun here, but the call is not working for him at the moment. So we will just keep going. And she looks around and sees a group of people who look like they're having an immense amount of fun, and they're sitting around a table that has a pile of some sort of powder on it.
She walks up to them. She's putting on a brave face, and she's told herself she's going to make friends tonight. And she walks up to one of them and is like, "Hi, can I sit with you? Can I hang out with you guys? What are you guys up to?"
Yeah, we're just taking hits of this stuff.
Oh, this really glittery stuff? It looks cool.
It's awesome. You can see the future.
Oh, am I a senator in the future?
You have to take it to find out.
Okay. This sounds like stuff I've been advised against in my early years of schooling, but you know what? I'm at a party. I'm in college. I will do it. So she sits down next to them, and slams her face down to the table, and inhales all of the glitter, just like Al Pacino did in that one movie where he did the same move. And she inhales it all, and she's covered in glitter, and she lifts her head up and she's like, I'm never gonna be a senator. And she sees a new life set up in front of her, and colors are fabulous. People suddenly seem so easy to mingle with, and she is on fire. And she thinks she's a real hoot at this party.
Okay, and the future that she is seeing is the present right now. And I think that will end that scene. Aaron, are you back with us?
I'm back.
All
So
right,
sorry
cool.
about that.
All right, V, you have got a second black die. You get to hand that off to somebody.
I'm gonna give that to Aaron, just
All
because
right.
he missed my scene.
I'm sorry. All I heard was the Al Pacino type mountain of snort.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, we have concluded the flashback where we learn how Princess Three Moon got into drugs, and Aaron is going to set up the final scene of the first half. What are we going to do with your character, Ruckjorn?
Now Ruck needs to get Princess Three Moon's help to, I guess, secrete these 12 kilos of glitter stim on her person. So he has arranged for a royal inspection of the luxury 3000 ship that is now smashed up at the docks. And
and I think the actual owner of the ship is probably some Rhodian guy who's being hauled away to jail, going, "Oh, what do you think you're doing, guys? I have rights. You'll hear from my lawyer." That's my Greedo impression.
That's good. Well, don't worry, Mr. Speedo.
And that is his name, Speedo. He's a race yacht driver.
We here in the Bespin Wing Guard will ensure that every care is taken with your vessel. We'll discover who the saboteurs were, but I'm afraid we have to bow to royal privilege. The Princess Three Moon has asked to inspect your yacht. Who knows about the whims of royalty? And here she comes now with her entourage. Welcome.
What is Princess Three Moon's entourage?
Yeah, I think she might have a shine to Ewoks and be surprisingly have like a small crew of Ewoks following her. And she likes being the biggest in the group, so anyone else has to be smaller than her.
Sure. It's like the king and I. Everybody has to be shorter.
Yeah.
Your head cannot be above that of Princess Three Moon.
So she walks in, slow motion style. She slowly pulls off her glasses and flails her hair around the little snakes flowing in the wind, and she's like, I'm ready to inspect the yacht.
Right this way, Your Royalness. Shall we begin in the engine room?
That seems like the best place to start. She winks at Ruckjorn, and then again at Libno.
Ruck winks back with his one eye.
And Bib just blinks. He's not picking up on any of this.
I hope you'll forgive us, Your Royalness. We haven't got the traditional red velvet carpet roll to lay out under your feet, and we will have to be climbing down some dank and rather slippery bent bar ladderways.
It's fine. It takes me back to the latter college years, back in the last few years of college when things were really turned up to 11. You know what I mean? Let's do this. Let's inspect this engine room.
All right.
I think you get a black die.
Uh-oh. That's me, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Your Royalness, if you wouldn't mind, if Wicket and the gang, if they wouldn't stay up here in the galley and entertain the crewmen with a rendition of Lubnub, and I just need to speak to you in the engine room.
Oh, yes, totally fine. They love doing their renditions of Lubnub, so they're fine. They're fine. I'm gonna give them all a kiss, though. Okay, and off we go.
It's good to know they still prefer the classics like Lubnub. I understand some of them are interested in new and different songs.
Oh,
anyway,
not these boys. Classics, purists.
Listen, remember when I met you back in the Darth Bespin casino, and we had a wink sort of a arrangement?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have the product, as you might say, here, and we just need someone of sufficient corpulence to help us hide the product for removal from this.
Princess Three Moon's eyes progressively get wider and wider, and she starts to salivate a little. I'm going to ignore that you called me fat. Take me to the goods.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Your Royalness. Right here, behind this fire hose. And what? What?
Bum, bum, bum.
Where did it go?
And I think that's a great place to end the first half. What do you say?
Sounds great.
All right. So let's have Aaron pass on that black die to somebody.
Well, you both need another one. I guess it would be worst for you, Mike, so I'm going to give it to you.
Okay. So now is the point where we roll some dice on the tilt table to find out some new story elements that are going to appear in the second half. So I'm going to roll the dice I have in front of me. I would use the dice app that everybody can see, except that it doesn't actually roll the dice that are in front of people. Also, it's not very helpful for that. And the person with the highest white total and the person with the highest black total are going to team up to pick some new story elements. So, V, you have got black 3. I have got white 2. Aaron has got white 2. I don't know what the tiebreaker is, so I'll just let Aaron do it because I have picked elements, I think, in every other session.
Okay.
So, we will roll these remaining dice, and this one we can do on screen. So we have got a pair of 4s, a 5, a 6, a 2, and a 3. So that means that our categories that our tilt can be are tragedy, innocence, guilt, paranoia, or failure. And V, you get to pick one of those.
Let's do paranoia.
All right, paranoia. And Aaron, you get to pick one.
Tragedy.
So now, V, you get to further define tragedy. Your options are pain followed by confusion, death right on time, or death after an unpleasant struggle.
Let's do that first one.
All right. Pain followed by confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Make a note of that. And Aaron, your options for paranoia are a sudden reversal of status, fortune, or sympathy, or somebody is watching, waiting for their moment.
Let's go with somebody watching.
Somebody watching. So that is the end of the first half of tonight's episode of Tuesday Night Fiasco. We'll be back in about 5 minutes to start the second half. If you haven't already gone to loungeboise.com and purchased a ticket for the show, I encourage you to do so. Lounge is streaming entertainment every single night. It's a great change from watching Netflix or whatever it is you're doing. We'll see you again in 5 minutes.
Cool.
Welcome back to the second act of Tuesday Night Fiasco, brought to you by the virtual lounge at the end of the universe. Pay a visit to loungeboise.com, buy yourself a ticket, help support entertainment like this. We are getting ready for the second half of Escape from Cloud City, a Star Wars themed game of Fiasco in which bad things are going to happen to bad people. I'm Mike Wittry, and joining me are V. Hunson and Aaron Nuttall.
Hello.
Hello again. And in the first half of our show, we learned about two Bespin Wingguard officers who had a plan to get their hands on an enormous score of Glitterstim spice and help distribute it to Princess Three Moon, the enormous alien princess who is sympathetic to the rebellion, and also really hooked on drugs. And our first act ended with that giant supply of Glitterstim disappearing. In the second half, we're going to see pain followed by confusion and an instance where somebody is watching, waiting for their moment. So the second half works very much like the first half, except when we hand out a die to somebody at the end of their scene, they keep that die instead of passing it to someone else. So our second half is going to start with a scene starring Bib Libno, and I think the second half is also going to kick off at the Yareth Bespin Casino in the VIP room, where immensely rich people from all over the galaxy are having the time of their lives, absolutely blissed out. This is the Studio 54 of outer space. Everyone who's anyone is there, and among them is Bib Libno, who is not dressed for duty right now. He is handing out the Star Wars equivalent of small plastic baggies of glittering spice and shoveling credits into his pocket every time he gets them. We do a quick flashback to see that the night before, he had snuck into the yacht where the fire hose was, and he opened the bag and started taking out small amounts of this spice and put them into as many little baggies as he could that he put all over his person in tiny pockets everywhere. But he has clearly not got 12 kilos of it on him. Cut back to the casino. Yeah, absolutely. I'm your hookup. Oh yeah, don't worry. There's a lot more where this came from. You need credit? We can talk terms of credit.
I swear, I'm good for it. At the end of the week, says a for some reason very short Gamorrean pigman.
Sure. Hey. Yeah. I'm. I know where to find you. So if you say you're good for it, keep in mind that I know how to collect. Got it? Got it.
Okay.
And among the VIP party is going swell, and then Princess Three Moon enters.
Again, I enter with my entourage. I'm slowly taking off my sunglasses, tossing my snake hair in the wind. Oh my God, Limpno, what are you doing here?
Hey! I say, hiding a plastic baggie behind my back. I'm just doing a health and safety inspection.
Sure, you are on my naughty list after that bonk royal investigation.
What? 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 It's not my fault.
Who else? It's your fault. I don't have the goods. You don't have the money. Gluck Gorn doesn't have any money either. This is all your fault. All because I'm drugless. I'm going through withdrawals.
Yeah, about that. So I have a different hookup. I can probably get something for you in like 72 hours. Another ship coming in. I got plenty of suppliers. That's what I'm supplying all these people with right now. Definitely, absolutely. We can make something happen, I think.
Well, I'm a desperate woman. So if
Are
you don't
are we?
follow up with me in 72 hours on the dot, you're going to be in a world of pain.
This is sounding like either white die or black die situation.
I think it's a white die.
All right.
And once she says that, her cute little Ewoks behind her start pop up, cracking their knuckles and doing little stretches. One gets out a little nunchuck, and they mean business, and they mean to do right by her.
Well, we certainly wouldn't want to see what those Ewoks do when they're off the chain.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. They beat up the biggest hut I've ever seen only 4 weeks ago, and they didn't even break a sweat. Sure, they were panting a little bit, but they got business taken care of.
Problem, right? When would I lie to you? When would I lie to you? I wouldn't. You're my girl.
She's shaking her head and frowning, deeply frowning. You've got 72 hours. You hear me, Sergeant?
Not a problem. Sergeant Libno thinks back to the place where the secret place in his cloud car where he has got another 2 or 3 kilos of this stuff stacked. And that, I think, is going to end the scene. I have taken my white die and I am holding on to it. And let's go over to a scene starring Prince.
Do you guys want to set it up?
Okay.
Let's see what elements we have got floating around there. We have got somebody watching and waiting. That seems like something interesting we could do with that.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So let's do this. So we see Princess Three Moon in her very swanky hotel room. Her Ewoks are just relaxing on the couch, taking turns entertaining themselves with their sweet dance moves and renditions of Lubnum. And she's sitting there looking in the mirror, wondering what's happened to her life now that she's been in withdrawals for a few days now. She's thinking a little clearer and kind of questioning some of her life choices.
And I think from out, like we back up, we zoom out the window, and then across to an adjoining. Well, it wouldn't be adjoining, but to another hotel where a guy is looking out the window through his binoculars. We put him down. It's Speedo. We flash back to Speedo standing outside his yacht being taken away, seeing the very suspicious Princess Three Moon accompany the Wingguard officers onto him. And then we flash back to the present and back to Princess Three Moon, who doesn't know she's being watched.
So Princess Three Moon, she plops down on the couch, making all the Ewoks ripple off to the side. I don't know, babies. I've been off the spice for a few days now, and I'm not sure if I should be picking it back up. Maybe I should go back to college and finish things up like my dad wanted me to. What was the harm in that? Of course, the Ewoks just chitter to her in pleasant dog sounds. Oh, I know. You're so right. You're so right. Drugs are so much fun. Having fun is so much fun. But isn't there more to life?
I think this is feeling like a white die situation.
I think so.
And so she's kind of having this solo come to Jesus with her Ewoks just chittering with her and in agreement. They're her yes men, and they want what's right by her. One of them hands her a glass of just neat blue milk, and she sips it. There's no alcohol, but she's feeling charged in her decision to stay sober. And she stands up and she feels like a new woman.
And the Star Wars equivalent of Walking on Sunshine starts playing.
Yeah. And her Ewok babies are cheering on for her, and they're really excited for where she is deciding to go in her life, and she feels just so alive. She's never felt more alive in this moment in her hotel room than any other moment in her short life.
All right, feels like a good end for that scene. V, you're walking away with another white die, and let's get a scene starring
Ruck. Okay. Ruck is at work in the cop shop at his desk, filling out paperwork, and he's gnawing on his thumbnail, looking nervous. He's got a real worried look in that single rubber prosthetic looking eye on his forehead, because he knows he's got to go in to the holding cell where they've got Speedo, the Rhodian, and it's his job to explain to Speedo why he's been jammed up and what happened to his ship. So Ruck rolls back in his chair, gets up from his desk, walks as slowly as he possibly can to the holding cell, taps on the door quietly.
You can't hold me here much longer.
No, of course not, Mr. Speedo. I just got to do a little bit of an exit interview with you here.
Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?
You are Speedo, the Rhodian owner of a luxury 3,000 space yacht. Is that correct?
Yes, and I am renowned across the galaxy. I am famous. You can't treat me like this.
Let me offer you, on behalf of the entire Bespin Wingguard Officers Corps, our sincerest apologies for your inconvenience. But we are obviously so embarrassed that saboteurs were able to get onto your ship and smash it up.
We're gonna pay for it?
Well, I think that's an issue between you and your insurance company. Be that as it may, we just have a few questions. How would you rate the quality of service you received here at Bespin Cloud City? Would you say it is excellent, good, average, or terrible.
Speedo just glares at him.
Okay, I'm going to mark that as good. And how likely would you be to recommend Bespin Cloud City Transit Authority to your friends? Same categories as before. Excellent.
You cannot be serious. You cannot be serious.
I just have to fill out this paperwork, otherwise my lieutenant will be on me like stink on a road. Oh, I'm sorry. Like slime on a hut. So the sooner we get this done, the sooner you can.
How about this? 1,000 credits. I give you 1,000 credits. I'm out of here right now.
Oh, Mr. Speedo. Officers of the Wingguard can't accept credits. Wink. But I'd be happy to accompany you back to your ship.
You wanna, well, if you're going to be accompanying me, I do know a few people who could use a little visit.
Ah. Who would that be, Mr. Speedo?
I think there are some people I have been watching who I can report to you as lawbreakers, and if I'm correct, you get a bonus, maybe even a promotion if you catch.
Oh.
Sound like a white die situation to you?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And forgot my name. Ruck.
Yeah.
Places his hand on Speedo's back as he guides him out of the holding cell, and they hop into a twin pod cloud Uber. Oh, no. They don't need to call an Uber. They probably have the fleet of the Wingguard vehicles. I'll escort Speedo back to his luxury yacht, and he can drop a dime on Bib and Princess Three Moon, I assume?
Yep, probably. So that is the end of that scene. There is our dice setup, and we're going to go back to the final scene starring Bib Libno. And this scene takes place 72 hours after the party. The deadline by which Bib is supposed to provide Princess Three Moon with the stuff. He has been scrambling all over Cloud City to try and find the missing giant bag of glitter stim. No luck. So he has gone back to his last resort. He heads out of his little apartment down onto the street where his single pod cloud car with the remaining amount of his stash is parked. And just as he exits his building, who does he see but Speedo? Speedo dashes through the streets of Cloud City. He blasts the door open of the single pod cloud car. Bib draws his blaster, starts firing wildly, but the Rhodian shoots first. And manages to hit Bib in the non-shooting arm, and Speedo jumps into the cloud car with the last amount of that glitter stim in tow. Are you guys thinking he's going to get it back or not?
Not.
Okay, so he'll take a black die. And so Bib now, without a vehicle, sees everything, sees that his last amount of glitter stim zipping away from him, and he's just running, trying to catch up with the cloud car, which is obviously not going to work because you can't do that. He prepares to call a Cloud City Uber, and just as he's on his communicator with these guys, he feels a thump, and he blacks out, and he wakes up in a room full of Ewoks. That, I think, is going to end that scene. Here is our dice update. We have got a white and a black die remaining. The last die is wild, so we can do whatever we want with it. Let's get our final scene starring the princess. What's she up to?
So I think we've seen the princess has a little bit of a change of heart on her thoughts on her own drug consumption. But she is aware of how much money can be made from the sale of glitterstim spice, which is the highest end of spice that is available in Cloud City. So she lets her Ewoks rough up Libno for a solid day, and then she waltzes in to confront Libno. So, you couldn't keep your time frame. You couldn't keep your promise. You broke another promise. Promise after promise broken. And I think I finally learned my lesson.
It's not my fault.
What do you mean it's not your fault? You made a promise several times and you kept breaking it. It sounds directly like your fault.
I got ripped off. I don't know where the guy came from. It was the Rhodian.
Rhodian?
The Rhodian. The Rhodian guy. He came. He'd been watching. He's probably watching you too.
A Rhodian watching me? She gets a little twinkle in her eye.
Aaron, are you leaning towards white or black die for this?
I think this is a white die for Princess Three Moon.
Okay.
So, she's a little distracted because once upon a time there was a Rhodian that she admired so much in school, but never had the courage to talk to. He was so cool and so rich, and she just wished she had the nerves to talk to him and never could. So she's distracted from her task at hand. Why don't you tell me more about this Rhodian?
Maybe I should tell you myself. Boom! Right, flash pan where Speedo has kicked open the door, standing majestically, his dealy bobbers or whatever blowing in the wind. Yeah, he's posing. He's pointing at Princess, and you look familiar.
I don't know if you remember class of 63 chemistry. You and me were on the same lab desk, and we had to, splice up. Ewoks, cover your ears. We had to dissect an Ewok.
Vaguely, I vaguely remember. You were the one who got all A's in chemistry.
Yeah!
And
You
you got-
remember me!
Yeah. Why we were dissecting animals in chemistry class, I'm not sure, but
Yeah, didn't make any sense. But
I could use a chemist.
well, I could use a friend too, Speedo. She winks one of her eyes at him.
So Speedo puts his blaster down and said, I've got a good feeling about this. That seems like the end of that scene. So we will award that last white die. And even though our final die is going to be black, we can end this scene any way we want. What are we doing with Ruck?
Well, Ruck is again at the Bespin Wingguard offices, and Sergeant Libno hasn't showed up for work, so Ruck is thumbtacking up his index cards, connecting everything with red string. It's like, okay, so the Rhodian fingered Lib, no. Bib Lib, no. Sometimes I just call him Lib for sure. And we know that Lib was trying to supply Princess Three Moon, and so was I trying to supply Princess Three Moon. Libno didn't show up. You know what? I think there might be foul play. Ruck stands up, puts on his officer's jacket with the golden braids and the frilly epaulets, and he gets into his own personal single pod cloud car and goes to the last place he met up with Princess Three Moon, the VIP lounge at the casino, where I'm just assuming the Ewok confrontation went down to rescue poor old Sergeant Libno. What state is Libno in after his encounter with the Ewoks?
I think he is tied up and gagged and still trying to scream.
Okay. And Princess Three Moon and her new boyfriend.
Ooh. Going kind of fast.
Yeah.
They're still there reminiscing over old times when Ruck steps through the door and sees everything that is going on. All right, everybody. Stop in the name of the Bespin Wingguard and the law of Cloud City. I see that there's an officer here who is being detained, and also I see royalty consorting with a Rhodian.
And we see the Ewoks setting up their giant swinging logs.
You teddy bears, get down from there.
They release the logs. I think that's a good place to end. On a cliffhanger.
Ooh.
All right, so that's going to hand over our final die, and I am going to roll all of these together off screen because that's the way the app works. And then it's going to give us a number, and I will refer to the aftermath table in the book, which I can't show you because that's one of the things you have to buy the book to get. And then we'll do that. We'll give a quick summary of what happens to our characters at the end. So let's have a look at what Bib is going to get. Bib has rolled a black 6. His result is pathetic. You'll suffer. Oh, dear God, will you suffer? And everyone will know of your malfeasance, your stupidity, your lack of common sense and decency. You're probably going to be locked up too. So I'll take some time to think about that. Moving on to Princess 3 Moon. Her result is white 7, which is weak. Hey, you're busted, beat, and broke down, but at least you've learned a lesson about human greed and frailty, right? It'll serve you well in prison, which is where you're probably headed. Take a bit to think about that. And finally, Ruck. Ruck's result is black 5, rough. You're getting whipped like a rented mule for starters, and you will remember this episode for all your diminished days. The lesson you learn will be profound, lingering, and painful. So, we'll start with the story of Bib Libno, who attempts to escape in the crossfire as the Wingguard versus Ewok battle erupts in the VIP lounge. He is bound and gagged, and eventually he has no choice but to try to break through one of the windows, which he does, and he plummets out the window and breaks every bone in his body. And our last shot of him is him being surgically and cybernetically reconstructed to the extent possible, which just means that he's got like one cybernetic arm now, and his legs still don't work because all he can afford is one cybernetic arm. And the last shot is him raising his single arm and shouting, "No!" All right. What happened to Princess 3 Moon?
So Princess 3 Moon and Speedo really hit it off, and he wowed her with a 3-month bender of the finest glitterstim spice she's ever had. Those promises she made to herself in that hotel room that night just slipped right out of her mind, and the only thing was her love for Speedo and glitterstim spice rolling in to her nostrils. Though she should have, she was not on her guard at all, and she should have seen it coming. There were plenty of red flags. Speedo eventually framed her for a big drug deal and put it all on her, and she was too in love with Speedo to deny anything. She felt like a broken woman, so she took the sentencing and is now spending a smooth 10 to 20 in the pen.
Ooh. And what happened to Ruck Jorn?
Well, he was smashed in the weapon arm by that Ewok log and crashed through the wall of the VIP room out onto the floor of the casino, which was a special kind of casino floor that had sort of a big manhole-sized drain opening that popped up and opened into one of those long chutes that they have all over Cloud City.
Oh, yeah.
And he fell at the edge of it, but his weapon had been knocked out, and he would have been able to catch himself, but his arm had also been broken by the Ewok log, so he fell down the chute, falling until he came to rest suddenly in a dramatically lit and mist-filled chamber that was being used to freeze humans in carbonite, and he ended up in a chocolate bar type block of carbonite, and he was thrown in as just sort of an extra when Boba Fett took Captain Solo and delivered it to Jabba back on Tatooine, since there was already a place for Han on the wall where all of the gross aliens slept. Ruck was installed on the floor of Jabba's personal bathroom as a block of carbonite.
Yikes!
That's very sad.
All right, well, that is the end of Escape from Cloud City, and that is the end of the Tuesday Night Fiasco sessions. We have had some fun doing that. With any luck, we won't need to bring them back in the future, although we may do this as a live show. Who knows? It has been great to have you here. Thanks to V. Hudson and Aaron Nuttall for joining us.
Thank you,
Mike.
And remember, if you've been listening to this, head over to Fiasco. Don't head to Fiasco, although you can if you want to buy the game. Head over to loungeboise.com, buy yourself a digital ticket, and help support us. Thanks again for joining us, and good night.
Good night, everybody.